Okay.
No.
Our top 10 half of the year stuff. Guess I'll go first. We'll go
Sure.
from 10 to 1. At number 10, I have Whitechapel, Our Endless War. To be honest, I don't really know how this album made it into my top 10. I didn't like it all that much, and it probably won't be there by the end of the year, but I thought it was a pretty okay album in itself. It deserves some positive recognition. It has some good songs on it, but overall, that's probably most of my bottom 5. It probably won't be there by the end of the year, but it's okay, worth a mention, I guess.
My number 10 is Body Count, Manslaughter. Again, I kind of the same thing as Sam. This album, it's a fun album, and I really like this album, and it's a nice listen to. But if it wasn't for the fact that I've really only listened to a little over 10 albums so far this year, and that this really wouldn't be on my list. Like, it's not top 10 worthy, but it is a good album. I mean, again, you like rap metal, this is definitely an album for you, and it's got some tight riffage. I mean, yeah, it's just it's a good way to get best of both worlds with rap and metal, I guess. So that's my number 10.
I'm tired of your lying ass.
What? What are you saying?
The number 9
Fucking shit.
on my list was I Killed the Prom Queen, stupid name, the album Beloved. This album would probably be a little higher on my list, but you know, I could say, I could just, the best I could say is the vocalist isn't for me. I don't think he's just kind of weird and he fits in with it, you know, in that weird sense. It's just, he's kind of not my taste, and he kind of doesn't ruin the album, but it holds it back a lot of what, the roof of where this album could be. I think he's keeping it down a little bit, just for me. Otherwise, I think it's a pretty solid metalcore album in a time where you don't get many metalcore albums that are more metal than core, if you will. It has like riffs and stuff, and more than just breakdowns, but you know, it's just, I think it's that far down just because I'm not the biggest fan of vocals.
My number 9, I have Intervals, Voice Within. This album came out of nowhere for me. I literally kind of had never heard of this band before, hearing about this album from Tyler and Sam, and it's a fun album. These guys, would you consider them deathcore, or what would you technically consider them? I'm not sure. Intervals,
like progressive,
progressive, yeah.
Future
Like it's,
past
I'm not
1973.
Progressive gent metalcore. All the same thing.
Jet. But like I don't usually listen to stuff like this too much, but it's just a fun album. It's really, really catchy, and like it's just, again, this isn't usually my usual kind of thing to listen to, so it's just and that's really the only reason it's not too high on my list, is because I'm not too into this kind of music. So I mean, but it's a solid album, and I did enjoy it. So yeah, that's why I have this one.
The next album I have would be number 7. This is like Keith with his last album. It's an album it's not a band I listen to a lot, but Tiger's Jaw, the album Charmer, I thought it was okay. It was worthy of a top 10 just because, like Keith kind of said, I've only listened to like a little over 10 albums, and not every one, maybe a little ways over 10 albums. Not every one I've liked, but this one, it's worth mentioning, I guess. It's not quite into my this is a top 10 album. It's kind of the honorable mentions in a way. But I thought it was a pretty okay album, and check it out.
Oh, okay. My number 8 is I have All You Can Eat, Steel Panther. This album is just solid. All the way around. Like, kind of from the rest of my list down, everything is just all the albums are really solid. And, you know, you might not take this band too seriously. I mean, I don't, but they're just a fun band to listen to. This is one of those bands that kind of like Body Count and like Austrian Death Machine. They just kind of, you smile when you listen to these bands, and the riffage and soloing, everything was just so tight on this album. Like, for a band that writes about nothing but sexual innuendos, like, if if they took themselves seriously for 1 second, they could skyrocket and be like one of the best like rock / metal bands out there. But you know, I do enjoy, you know, what gangbang at the old folks' home and all that good stuff. So yeah, Steel Panther.
Next, number 6, right?
7.
Yeah. 7?
7. 'Cause I just did 8.
Did 7.
I just did 8.
Oh well, I guess my last one was number 8. Okay, yeah. Now my number 7. Last one was number 8. To clear that up, in case you didn't hear that. My number 7 is Trash Talk No Peace. Yeah, this is a band that I've never listened to, but they kind of just I don't know how I've never heard of them. There's something that I would like a lot anymore. It's like the perfect blend of like 90s hardcore punk with somewhat of a modern hardcore twist on it a little bit. Just the sound of this album, the production quality, everything with it, even the vocalist just seems pissed off enough to be, or, you know, intense enough to be, you know, from the 90s, just because people aren't intense enough anymore, it seems. But it's a great album. I found out about it because this band signed with a record label that Tyler, the Creator, owns, a guy from Odd Future, and he was promoting it a bunch and stuff. I thought it was rap, and I'm like, all right, well, I'll listen to one song. But it's really, really, you know, good, I think. The only reason it's so far down is because I don't know, it didn't connect with me entirely. But overall, I think it's a very good effort, and maybe in time I'll like it a little bit more and stuff.
Number 7, I have Sabaton with Heroes. This album is definitely a grower. I mean, if you listen to the review me and Tyler did of it, you know, I thought it was a good album, but I didn't have the highest opinion of this album at first. Going back later on and like not actually listening to the album from start to finish and actually like listening to individual songs and hearing things out, this album got really, really good. It gets, you know, it's everything you'd want from a Sabaton album. I mean, they sing about war, and, you know, it gets heavy and fast, and the choruses are epic, and the singer sings in that one kind of range that he sings at the entire time.
The singer sings.
He does. Does he?
No.
No? Okay.
He doesn't sing.
He doesn't sing. But, yeah, it's just overall, like I said, over time I've grown to actually really like this album. And the only thing is that, I mean, it's only been a little bit more recently that I've grown to like this album more. So maybe later on in the year this album will creep up higher into my up my list. But right now it's at number 7.
Creep on over. Number 6, I have La Dispute, Rooms of the House. Really, if anyone has listened to this band or had experienced this band's music before, it's all that you can really say is this La Dispute. There's not any which way that you can characterize these guys. There's brilliant lyrics. The music is it complements the lyrics. The lyrics complement the music. It's a journey, really, and it's one of those poetry and music type of bands that it's not just music written and then the lyrics go with it. It seems like the lyrics are actually they are written out and they have a purpose more so than just to kind of go with the music and what would be kind of cool or anything. It's storytelling, kind of. But yeah, it's La Dispute. That's about how you can sum up this album. It's a very good album.
Number 6, I have Marty Friedman's band with Inferno. This album is really cool, especially if you love like ripping solos from, you know, a lead guitarist, because that's, again, it's Marty Friedman's band, and you know, he's famous for being the lead guitarist of Megadeth, so you know he's going to have his solo mark all over this, and it's really cool that he has the creative freedom to do what he wants. You know, whereas in Megadeth he might not have had as much freedom as he would have liked, and this album is just really, really good. You know, you can hear a little bit of everything from instrumental tracks to tracks with vocalists that you've never heard of, and all kinds of cool things about it. Like everything fits really well. Like I before this I knew Marty Friedman was a great solo writer, but I didn't know he was a great like riff writer, and then that definitely is prevalent in this album. That you can tell that he can actually put together really really well written songs, and not just maybe write a couple cool riffs and and some cool solos. Like he can actually completely write out some really awesome pieces, and that's just what the cool part about this album is. So, yeah.
Number 5, I had Being as an Ocean, the band and the album, How We Both Wondrously Perish. I like this album a lot more upon first listen, but it seems it's just sliding down my list almost, and it's good at first listen, but then it seems to lose me after a while. The songwriting is pretty good. It's a very melodic album, and I feel like it drowns in the melody a bit, because sometimes with the vocal ability of the vocalist, I didn't learn the guy's name, but 'cause I don't know everyone's name. Do you?
Yes.
It seems that he has the vocal ability for much more of a harsh style of music, something that's nastier, and maybe not like thrash or something like that, but just the heavier side of a hardcore style, but they seem to lose me a bit with all the melody, but there's still some quality songs on this album, such as one of my favorites, Nature or Natures. I'm pretty sure it's one of the two. I'm pretty sure it's Natures. I'm an idiot. I know it's the last track. I don't remember tracks of albums all that much. But it probably won't make my list by the end of the year, but it's a pretty decent listen, I guess. It's not the best thing out there, I would say.
Number 5, I have Devil You Know, The Beauty of Destruction. What an awesome return for Howard Jones to come back into the world of metal with this. This is just completely different than Kill Switch Engage, which is what makes this album awesome. It's that they're not trying to be what he used to be and what he used to be in Kill Switch Engage. It's him, and he sounds better than ever. Everything about this album is just awesome. And they have the guitarist of was it All Shall Perish? What band was he from?
Yes, sir.
All Shall Perish.
And his own project.
And his own project. Not going to try to pronounce his name. Francesco
That's all it is,
Archusado. Francesco. And it's just a really well written album. It's another album that I didn't kind of surprise me in how well it came out. I don't know. I didn't expect this kind of album. Again, it's that stigma of you think Howard Jones, you obviously think Kill Switch Engage. So when I heard that, I was immediately picturing something like that. And an album like this comes out, and that's just awesome. And it's cool, and it's just a nice, invigorating thing, and it's just everything sounds better. I think Howard sounds better because he's got the energy now. He's in a new band. He's reinvigorated, and it really shows with all the music on this album, which is why I made my top 5.
4. 5?
Yeah, 4.
4. Okay. Next, I have Sea Haven, the album, just to shorten it, Reverie Lagoon, music for the escapism only. I usually just call it Reverie Lagoon, or I think of it as that. This band is insanely good. They should be a lot more known. They should be more popular than what they are. I saw this band a little while ago, and they play it live. It's better live than it is on the album, but the album is insanely good. One of the best soft rock bands around. Songs like let's see here, Whispers is a pretty good song. I like that one. Solar Eclipse, Wild West Selfishness. Just the entire album is something in its own. Almost each song, is something independent. It's overall a very, very, very good listen, and songwriting is very good, I think, for, you know, it could just be a rock band. A lot of what I listen to is metal, and the thing with metal is to be as diverse as possible, but then you have a rock band that comes along and can write just as diverse music. Each song has its own sort of feeling to it, and the album flows very well. It's something you can listen to on repeat over and over, and listen to it the next day and not get tired of it.
My number 4, I have Austrian Death Machine, Triple Brutal. I don't know if listening to an album this year has ever made me smile more than listening to this album. I don't know, like, what it is. Like, you know, it's another one of those bands you kind of can't take too seriously, but, you know, it's just, these guys get heavy and brutal as shit throughout this album, and it's awesome, you know, with tracks like, you know, I'll Be Back, Chill Out Dickwad, Prepare to Be Conquered, you know. It's just a concept that you can kind of laugh at, but these guys definitely pull it off and make it work. And, you know, you can have your opinions on, you know, Tim Lambesis, and, you know, you might not like him because of what he did, you know, that's all fun and games, but you can't deny that, like, at least this is a great album that he put out.
He never did anything. He hired someone to do something.
Well, still, but then, I mean, then explain the, you know, jail sentence and whatnot.
Sam hiring someone, putting a hit out on someone is a crime.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to kill anyone.
He put a
He
hit
just
out
hired
on someone.
But like I said, it's just, this album is, honestly, I think it's the best Austrian Death Machine album they've put out. I don't know if, all around, if they've done anything better than this. So, and that's why, you know, it's number 4. So, it's just a great listen. If you love metal, listen to this album.
3, right?
Yeah, we're on 3.
Okay, I'm stupid.
Don't worry, I got you.
Number 3, I have actually an EP, and it's probably the highest up of I might ever have an EP on a list. Is 100th Resist. Generally, I think this year so far hasn't been too strong with albums for me. There's some good things here and there, maybe some things I haven't listened to, but what I have listened to, I would say this stands above the rest, a lot of it. Even though it's just 6 songs, 6 tracks, 5 songs, I guess. There's an intro track, which is instrumental. I like the direction that 100th is going in a bit. It's not as, you know, energetic and upbeat as it is before. And like I said earlier about how Being as an Ocean, there's a lot of melody on that album. There's a lot more melody on this EP with 100th. And they've always had melody, but it seems they have gone in a bit more of that direction. But there are still some good, you know, riffs, I guess you could say. Like in the title track, Resist. Or, you know, probably the biggest hit off the album that people know well is Demons. A very good song. It's almost rock and roll-ish. And it's you know, it's good. The lyrics are good about, you know, I guess the whole motto of the band, the free mind, open spirit, you know, not listening to government and stuff, but a bit of a new twist on it. Not like another album I had, like Whitechapel, which would be like, oh, the government lies to you, but more of a think for yourself kind of theme throughout this album. It's a very good album, strong in imagery and everything. Shelter, another good song, and then to close off the album, having Wage is an instrumental track, but over top of it is a speech from S. Brian Wilson. I think he was a Vietnam veteran or something, maybe. I feel like I read that somewhere. I may be wrong. But more about, you know, waging peace rather than war. It's a pretty good album, and you know, of course it's good. It's number 3. Well, it's a good EP.
My number 3, I have Iced Earth, Plagues of Babylon. This was you know, again, it was like the first album. Actually, it was the first album I listened to that came out this year, and this album rules hard. This is really, it's Iced Earth showing off what they can do with Stu Block. Whereas, like, if you look at Dystopia, I feel like that album they were playing a lot more conservative with what they could write. Whereas this time they were just kind of writing and challenging each other and all kinds of other stuff. Turn off your phone, Luke.
Hey, it's my alarm for working third shift, bitch.
All right, but
No, you're working third shift. No, you're not. Turn
All
it
right.
off.
well, so fuck, where was I? All right, now I remember. So like again, it's them showing off what they could do because this, technically Stu's still a new singer, new-ish singer. So now, and it's just, again, it's another album where like, even though I had definitely a higher opinion of it than Sabaton, a lot of songs grew on me over time. Songs like Resistance, I didn't really like Resistance, and in the first time I listened to it, The End, I didn't really like The End.
What about
You
the
know.
beginning?
Wow. Wow. All right. There were songs I didn't really like as much to start off with, but now they've grown on me, and I do like these songs, and they're good songs. So, that's the thing. And whereas Dystopia was a lot more, it either kind of got epic or it was really, really fast. This album gets the best of both worlds. This album is aggressive. It's melodic. Literally every chorus is one of those choruses where they have like a whole group of people just singing along, and it's just awesome the whole way through. You should definitely check out this album.
Number 2.
Yes.
Okay, calm your horses. Number 2, I had Comeback Kid, Die
Calm your tits.
Knowing. What?
Calm your tits.
You're
Come
not
Shot
his
Kids.
video.
Come
You're not
Shot
getting
Kids.
credits here.
Home Shot Kids, right?
Yeah, Comeback Kid, Die Knowing. With songs like the title track or Wasted Arrows, Sink In, this is a very, very good album from, to me, a respected hardcore band. Having some good, nasty riffage and everything. Vocal abilities from the vocalist, I don't know, Aaron Neufeld. I don't learn everyone's name. And it looks bad sometimes, but I don't learn everyone's name. Aaron, right? Andrew. I'm an idiot. Andrew, the vocalist, I think he does a pretty good job on this album. Just like everyone else would. But overall, it's their 5th album. I've listened to them for maybe 1 or 2 albums now, and I respect what they have to say in their albums. A bit of the mindset that they go upon. Really, it's just I'm trying not to make it sound too much of like a hardcore album, like, oh well, I respect what they have to say, and it's a hardcore, go track by track, hardcore instrumentally. But it is, I think. But it's good hardcore. Try not to make it sound too like, oh, it's just another hardcore band. But
Yeah, but
it's good.
I feel you. My number 2, I have Primal Fear, Delivering the Black. If you like Primal Fear, you've listened to their albums before, and you like what they've done, and you just like the way that they write songs and do things, and this album will not disappoint. I mean, if you want something kind of shocking and brand new for this band, I mean, you're not going to get it. Exactly. You won't go like that.
Yeah.
The entire album. It's just them being them, and they do what they do very, very well. Just being a great power metal band with a slight hint of rock. I mean, they have songs like The Road to Asylum and, the title track, Delivering the Black, which are both just like ragers.
Sounds
The
like
whole
a
way
porn,
through.
a
Right.
porno name, Delivering the Black.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. And then you get songs like Alive and On Fire, which is a little bit more rock, I would say. Or When Death Comes Knocking, which I would also say is maybe a little bit more rock. But like this album is just awesome in that way. And then they also have probably I think the best song from this album is One Night in December, which is just an awesome kind of semi-ballady song. I don't know exactly how to explain it. But like, I went into this album thinking that like, they couldn't beat like Black Sun. Black Sun was their best album. And nothing they could do could ever compare to this. But this album actually competes with Black Sun in my opinion. I really, really like this album. It's a very solid release. These guys, you know, for being a band for over probably around or over 20 years now, they have not lost their touch at all, and it's awesome. So that's why Primal Fear is my number 2.
Number 1. I don't know why I'm looking at my notes here. It's Disgusting by Beartooth. This could be a contender for Album of the Year for me, most likely, unless something better comes out, you know, like you can expect. But really, this is a good album. It's all written by and all recorded and produced, I think, like aside of like one song. It's entirely produced, written, recorded by. All the instruments are played on this album by Caleb Shomo. And most people will probably remember him from being in Attack Attack, which is kind of something I think he's definitely moved on from now, and you know, I would like to forget it. But sometimes while he was in Attack Attack, towards the later years of them, I think when he had a hand in some songwriting and like their second album, when he produced a few songs, I think that he made them listenable. And if you can make Attack Attack listenable and not boring, I think you can pretty much do anything in the world. But with this album, it's not, I don't know what you can't really classify it as a certain genre. It kind of comes together as a few different genres, some rock and roll, some Dwayne Johnson, some metal, some hardcore. It really brings in a lot of different things, and it's overall it's pretty energetic. It's pretty angry. It's pretty. I think it's an album that is something real, where you listen to it and you're like, oh yeah, and like that's exactly what I said. That's my exact reaction. But it's more of a, you know, you can kind of tell it's more of a personal effort on his behalf because, you know, reading up on a little bit, doing some searching on the internet, it's more of a personal album. Apparently, he wrote all the songs and everything like that, performed all the instruments. I didn't know he could play every instrument in the world, but apparently he can. Yeah, it's more of a personal album with personal lyrics and everything, and I guess the main goal of this was to make it something real, something cool, and there wasn't that attempt to make it listenable. I think it just kind of is what it is, and that's one of the best parts about it, that it's not trying too hard. It's right where it should be. It's something that, like I said, it's personal. It's not trying for a goal, you know, for other people to like it, but it's just something that you wrote, and it's nice to have that, not trying too hard to be everything else around, you know, because a lot of bands do that, and it gets old. And I think it's really cool for this band, a new band. They have one EP and then an album, and they're relatively new, and just to be surrounded in the metal scene, I guess, where Shomo came from with Attack Attack, and have being this little oasis of something that's just pretty cool. Songs like the lines in between Beaten and Lips. You have a song that they released before, I Have a Problem. Sounds very Richard-esque, but it's about alcohol addiction. They have a song about just, you know, being pissed off. A song like Dead is very good. To close off the album, they had the song Sick and Disgusting, which is pretty intense. You could say emotionally intense.
Is it pretty sick and disgusting?
It is. It's very emotionally intense, and you know, it's just a very good album. A song like Dead, I think, would be perfect for like a guest vocal song, but it's all him. Everything on the album, and everything worked out so well. It has these, like, you want to jump around and stomp around parts, and then it has these choruses that, you know, there's no shame in liking a good chorus. Even if it's just chorus after chorus on this album of like, alright, that's a very good catchy chorus, and it's You know, in some cases it's that way up for a while on the album. But there's no shame in liking a good chorus. And the choruses on this album are excellent. Like, the lines. That's probably the best, catchiest chorus on there. Song like Relapsing, very good. But I'll just be going on now. It's a very, very good album. Maybe my album of the year, probably.
My number one album, as of this far in the year 2014, is Epica, The Quantum Enigma. To me, this album is everything that you could want in a metal album. At least at least especially with my personal taste. I mean, it's got its moments where, I mean, the band's called Epica, so, you know, it gets epic, and it's, you know, very, very, again, it's like symphonic metal, so it gets very, with the orchestra, very, well, again, epic. I'm trying not to use that word over and over again, but it just gets grand and big in scale, and it's just really awesome. And then it can get heavy and just kind of go and simplify it down for a little bit. And I think, at least as of right now, in my personal opinion, that Simone, you know, the lead singer, is probably one of my favorite vocalists ever, especially probably my favorite female vocalist.
She's
just
attractive?
because I don't know. Well, okay, yeah, just a little bit. Yes,
maybe that's why you like her.
No, she actually sounds really good.
Redhead.
She's a redhead. Redheads are hot, but besides that, even if she wasn't, I still think she's a good vocalist because, in a way, and I said this in the review, she sounds almost like a someone who'd sing like something from a Broadway or like a show tune or something. The way that her voice reminds me, it's kind of a nice sounding voice, and I mean, all in all, this album just seems very well put together. I mean, I don't really want to ramble on too much because I don't want to do that, but like, you know, The Essence of Silence is probably my favorite song from the album because it gets, you know, again, it's epic, the chorus is big, as with like a lot of symphonic / power metal bands, and then the middle section is like probably my favorite riff so far this year that's been written, so it's just awesome. So yeah, Epica, the Quantum Enigma album, is my number one because it's fucking awesome.
You think that might be number one by the end of the year?
I'd still say it'd probably still be in my top 5. And my list might not even be exact the way it is. Maybe listening to some of these albums more, an album might move up or down the list somewhere. You know, so.
Yeah.
But it would. I definitely believe this would still be in my top 5 by the end of the year. I see my list kind of containing a lot of these same albums. So, yeah. So, yeah, that was our top 10 albums so far of 2014. Let us know what your top 10 albums so far are. You know, like, subscribe, all that good shit. And don't forget to fucking blaze it.
Hitler.